Welcome to Success in Business. We are a panel of experts in our field, and we want to share our nuggets of wisdom with you. And today we're talking about how to deal with rejection. Welcome, ladies. It's so nice to have you here. Karina, will you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Stacy, for having me again. Karina, I am the Senior Managing Partner and the founder of the Benz Investment Group, and we work with all our investors and clients who are looking into investing in real estate. We only focus on walking our client into the real estate investment, and I'm located in the beautiful, sunny Florida.
Welcome. Angelina.
Hi, I'm Angelina. I am in the beautiful Big Island of Hawaii. That's where I am. And I do taxes and I do accounting. So I'm glad to be here with all you ladies.
So glad you're here. It's Tria.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm so happy to be here as well with you ladies. And we're all living somewhere sunny, I think, with the exception of Stacy. I'm Patria Leone, the CEO and founder of Health for Wealth, as well as the creator of H4W protein powders and supplements.
Let's see your hat. Show us your hat. Very nice.
My website for my supplements and protein powders. I have some filming to do later, so that's why I'm in gear today.
Doesn't she look great, ladies?
She does.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll introduce myself. I'm Stacy Mcpherson. I am the co-founder of Happy Life Results, and I am a business coach. I live with my family in Utah right now, but I am moving to Hawaii in the spring, so I will also join you in the land of sunny. So exciting.
There you go.
So I have 7 children and 3 grandchildren. I've lived internationally in Thailand for 3 years, Israel for 3 years, and then also in Hungary. And so I've had the experience of raising my family overseas and being an entrepreneur and being able to make a difference in people's lives. As a business coach, I'm able to really have positive impact in people's lives in the financial area, but also in relationships and also in their health. I'm a coach who believes that you need to be a whole person. You need to focus on all 3 areas: health, wealth, and relationships. And when one of those areas is out of balance, your whole life is out of balance. And so you really want to find a coach who has balance in all of those 3 areas, or they will coach you to do really well in 1 or 2 and then sabotage the 3rd. So that's something that I love to do. I love to coach people and help them to not sabotage any of the areas of their life, but have a balanced life on the things that are important to them. So that's what I bring. And today we're going to be talking about rejection and how to deal with it. And I'll be starting. So I had an experience with rejection when I was first starting my journey as an entrepreneur. So I was first starting out, and I was super new to the whole marketing aspect of life, like going to a business conference, talking to people, and forming a network and marketing with them. And so I remember I had picked someone in the room who was the most intimidating person, and I said, if I can talk to them, I can talk to them. So I went up to this gentleman who incidentally reminds me of James Bond. And I started to introduce myself. Well, I completely bombed. I did so badly that he said to me, he said, Stacy, you don't have to pressure yourself so much. It's not like I'm ever going to see you again. And to me, that was complete rejection. To me, he was saying, I never want to see you again. And so I felt horrible. I wanted to get away from that as soon as possible, like that feeling of rejection. And so at that time in my life, I felt like someone could just do something and then I would feel rejected. I felt like it's something that happens out there. People out there do something and then I just don't really have a choice. They did it and now I have to choose. I just feel rejected. I don't have a choice. But since then, I have learned that in order for it to be true rejection, you have to take part in it. It's a partnership between you and the other person. And I'll explain what I mean by partnership. You have to do something. There's something you have to do to make it be true rejection. So what is it? What is it that you have to do? And there are 2 things. One is you have to assume a motive. You have to assume intention on their part. And 2 is you have to assume an emotion on their part. If you don't do this, you're not taking part in the partnership, and it can't be true rejection. So let me explain with this example I just shared with you. Guess what actually was happening? He actually wanted to help me. He wanted to coach me. And in his brain, he thought, okay, how could I help her take the pressure off? And he's like, well, she'll probably never see me again. So this is a way for her to just like release the pressure. He was actually trying to coach me. And why do I know this? It's because I actually got over that feeling of rejection and reached out to him. Now we're friends. And even just last week, he sent me a picture of him at a surfing competition. So at least the story has a happy ending. But I genuinely felt rejected. And what did I do in that partnership? I assumed he was saying, Stacy, you don't belong here. And Stacy, I never want to see you again.
Yeah.
That's what I did. That was my part in the interaction. I assumed negative emotion and intention. And so let's look at what we can do instead. What can you do instead and not encourage this partnership of rejection? Well, number one is you can look at their intention and say, is there any other reason for them to say what they just said? Is there any other reason why they're saying no to me? They're rejecting my offer. And of course, if you think this way, you can think, well, maybe it isn't the best timing for them. Maybe they don't believe in themselves. Sometimes Patria and I know when coaching, they have to be ready. Like they have to believe in themselves enough that they're going to actually make change, right? So sometimes they don't believe in themselves enough. And sometimes there are a million reasons, right? And one of the reasons could be just preference. And I know it kind of sounds basic, but if you offer someone an orange juice or an apple juice, you're like, here, and they pick the apple juice. They don't have to reject the orange juice when they pick the apple juice. It's just their preference. And we attract people who prefer us. So people who prefer us will pick us. And sometimes we're just not their cup of tea or their cup of juice. They don't prefer us. And that's okay. Like we're all so different, right? So if you think of it as a preference, selecting and deselecting, then we're not attributing a negative emotion and a negative intention. And usually when we feel rejected, the intention that we feel like they are putting on us, the intention is that they want to hurt us, right? Because otherwise we wouldn't feel hurt when we feel rejected. We feel like they're wanting to inflict pain on us. So the first thing we can do is we can look at other ways that we could interpret the same thing. And so I would like to say, how do we do this? Like, okay, yes, Stacy, we shouldn't do that, and we shouldn't attribute negative emotion, but how? And one of the reasons has helped me so much is to realize I don't know what the other person is thinking. Sometimes when someone is feeling like embarrassed or anxious, it comes across that they're looking angry. So they're like embarrassed and they want to make it a good impression, and they have this expression, right? And I interpret the expression that they're angry or they're annoyed with me. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, they hate me, but really they're the ones that feel, that aren't feeling confident. And so that's one thing that helps me so much is to say, I don't know what the other person is thinking. And someone was like, well, you can know, you can ask them. But many people aren't in tune with their own emotions. If you say, how are you feeling? Many people will have a very hard time answering that question. And let's say they're good at it. Let's say they can answer that emotion. But will they tell you honestly? Like, really? And so it's very hard to know what someone else is thinking when even based on their body language and their cues, it's very hard to know. So assuming negative intention, that's what gets us into trouble and where we feel rejected. And so we talked about that. So let's take it back to my story. And I mentioned that he actually was trying to help me. And he was like, okay, how can I help this lady take the pressure off and practice so she doesn't go and talk to everyone the way she just talked to me, like he was really wanting to help me. But his body language, he was very severe. He was very, he was articulate, he was calm, but it really felt like he was looking down on me, honestly. It just felt like he's like, I'm all that and you're nothing, and why are you even here? And it took me a full day, ladies, and all of our people who are watching this, it took me a full day to recover. I couldn't network the whole rest of that day. I was in so much trauma and turmoil because I felt like he had rejected me. And so just realize, what did I do? I assumed intention and I assumed emotion. And so that's what we need to realize. And then when we think about when we think about how we're going to practice this, we can practice it with people who are just all around us, that when they do something, to realize if we think that they did something to hurt us or did something intentionally to make us feel bad, to kind of look and say, I don't know. And then to try, you can ask. So just to review, I would like to kind of go through this, but rejection can't happen without our taking part in it. And we have to assume emotion or intention, and we have to enter the partnership and to realize that sometimes it's just not a preference. And so I spoke about, the apple juice or the orange juice, because sometimes we just aren't their preference, and that's okay. Like, they can go find whatever their preferred. Also, really quick, one of the other reasons someone could reject our offer is because we didn't do an adequate job of presenting it. We know how great our offer is, don't we? We know, but we need to be able to say it in a way that they can understand it. And so that's another thing. We can practice sales. We can practice helping people know what it is we're actually offering. And so that's another way. And then lastly, I wanted to share this, and I could actually do a whole different panel discussion on this topic, but I feel very strongly that I need to mention it here. And that is, just because you are assuming positive intent, and just because you can see, you can see that they could possibly not be feeling a negative emotion, doesn't mean that you need to bring them into your inner circle. It doesn't mean you need to do business with them. You can objectively look at their actions and say, is this someone I want to continue to have in my life? And if not, they cannot be in your life, but you don't have to feel rejected. And do you know what I like to call this? I call this bulletproof confidence. So I would like all of you to not receive bullets of rejection, but all have bulletproof confidence. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Karina,
Thank you,
I just turned. Oh, thank you. Karina, I'll turn the time.
Stacy, what you have said and the closing statement of the bulletproof confidence, that's really the answer of it. At the end of the day, rejection, we live with it every day, especially when you're in entrepreneur world. You're there, you're trying to do your best, you're very passionate about what you're offering to others. And sometimes people don't see it the way how you see it. And so their response and their behavior is they shut you down. We're not interested, this is not the right time, whatever the case will be. In my industry, real estate, this is an everyday thing. People says no every single day. But the key to everything is how you choose, how you take it. It's a decision. If I choose to take it bad, then all my day will be bad. If I choose to take it, they said no, okay, no problem. What make you say no? And people are not responsive. I let it go. And then you kind of take a step back. Maybe, like you said, maybe they want apple juice. They don't want orange juice. What I'm offering at this time, it's not the right timing for them. It's not the right opportunity for them. Has nothing to do with you as a person, has to do with that given opportunity and that given what you're offering to them. So for me, rejection, it's all about the exchange and the partnership. Sometimes it's not personal, it's just people are not ready and they don't know how to express it. So it can come off mean, it can come off they don't answer the phone, that's part of rejection. And us, we said, oh my God, maybe I've done a wrong job, that's why that person turned me off. But sometimes it only had to do with that person, they were not ready. And I was talking to a friend of mine and he put it in my mind, and it's so powerful. One door closes, 1,000 open. If you take a moment to dissect it, one door closes, 1,000 open. There are so many opportunities out there. So the rejection is you will get no all the time, but there are so many other opportunities. You can keep going. If you have the passion and you're doing the right thing, you move on. So that rejection will not hold you to keep moving and helping others, which is extremely important. So this is how I see rejection. Rejection is like air. It's an everyday thing. It's just how you choose how you take it. So that's really my intake. And before I complete that, one of the exercises of my coach, JT Fox, it was if people told you no, which worked actually, which is very fascinating. When people told you no, go back, circle back, maybe in a month, whenever they cool off or whatever the situation will be, and ask them politely. You're not selling them anything. You're not trying to convey them to work with you. It's just a simple, I'm just curious, sir, what made you take that decision? And it's okay, you have gone with the different vendors or whatever, you have took a different decision, but it's just for me, I would like to improve. I am a business entrepreneur. I like to keep adding values to my client. What have I missed? And some people, when you present it this way, they'll tell you. And I absolutely practiced it. And I was really shocked. Like one of the client, he said, you're so passionate about real estate. You're so passionate about the investment. But since you assume that I know what you know. You see?
Very interesting. Yeah, that's great.
So that's why he could not invest, because I was so passionate about it. I thought that he understood that the real estate investment, it's a very tangible, it's a very solid investment that can serve others and build financial freedom. But that my beliefs, and I assumed he knows, he has the same beliefs as I did. So because I practiced that and I went and he told me exactly this. So I said, wow, so you take a step back, and then those type of exercises, part of it. So rejection is a blast in the sky. That's how you keep growing. If you don't have rejection, then you think everything is perfect and rosy, which is not the case. So this is how you get challenged, and this is how you overcome and you build your momentum and your strength. So this is my intake on rejection, ladies. One door closed, 1,000 open all the time. Sometimes you cannot keep knocking on the same door and wasting that energy. Just move on and use that energy to something else, because there are so many opportunities out there, and someone will connect with you and appreciate where you're going to add them as values and help them.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you for sharing. Okay, well, now we'll have Angelina go.
All right. I'm going to be very specific because, I mean, I always like to go to the top and think of things from the top, right? Like how we process things, right? And I always try to find some way for myself to process things that I can then take and process in different situations. Okay, so like rejection to me, it could be rejection, it could be disappointment, it could be failure, it could be something happy, it could be something sad, it could be a new opportunity, a lost opportunity, it could be all kinds of things, right? So the way I process it, and it has always worked for me, and I'm going to get very excited about, right? The first thing I do is I got to break it into 3 parts. Myself, the situation, and influence, right? And influence is the one I'm going to do first because I think that's the easiest one. I have to separate outside influence from what I'm about to process. So I don't talk to people about it. I don't try to get other people's opinions about it. I don't try processing my feelings or doing those kinds of things because I have to process it logically first. So I just push all of that kind of stuff out. I don't need nobody else feeding into whatever the situation is that I'm trying to assess, right? Then I go to myself first. Before I even go to the situation, I look at myself. What did I do? Did I show up? Did I have all the information? Was I prepared? Did I do everything that I could? Did I, right? And then what could I have done differently? And I really process all of those things so that for me, the limelight or the spotlight of the situation is on my contribution to it, right? What did I do, right? And because I do that, then I go to the situation. Now it's kind of easier because the limelight is on me to look at the situation, right? Without kind of taking in that emotion of what were they thinking or what were they feeling, right? Because now when I'm going through the situation and I can always see me, then it's really me that's trying to fix me or learn something from it. I hope that that totally makes sense to you guys, but that's what I do, you know, and at the end of that, I find it helpful for me because yeah, sometimes people are just bad people, right? But by the end of it, when you get to the end of it, I don't take it so personally,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes it's misunderstanding, and then I don't take that so personally, right? And then I will go to my emotion, right? Only then will I go to my emotion, because it does suck. It absolutely sucks. It
Yeah.
doesn't make me feel good, but because I have mixed that logic in there, right? It's so much easier for me to process the emotion. So,
Mhm.
for me, what I think of, whether it's rejection, failure, disappointment, or anything like that, that's fire, right? That's fuel to your fire. And for me, I'll run towards it because I can learn.
The good thing about you, you're analytical. Being a CPA, you analyze everything. So that's a really great way to go about it. The
Not
way
a
that you
CPA, disclosure.
Okay. You do taxes. You're extremely analytical.
Yeah. But thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Angelina. Oh, it's so good. Appreciate it. All right, we'll turn the time over to Patria.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely take a different perspective on this because, as a health strategist, it's different because you're dealing with people's very intimate, personal lives. Nobody wants to admit I have to do this or I've got to improve here and whatnot. But the rejection is just imminent. There's no way about it, whether it's your personal life or your business life. And the way you accept rejection, I will tell you, and learning this firsthand. For me, being trainer, dealing with people's nutrition, teaching them to live at their optimal level of health, I have to be my brand. I have to walk the talk. And I'll tell you, I'm a human being. And things, I can wake up in a day and have a day too, where you're just a little down.
Yeah.
And where I'm going with this is people think that it's all sales ability, why you get rejected. Not at all. And personally, I believe in the sense that everything that you do affects your personal and your business life. And most people want to try to keep those separate, but they're not. And as the CEO and founder, I developed the 4-pillar method of mindset, overall health and wellness, relationships, and finances. And that goes hand in hand with everything you do. Point being, if you have something like, that little obsessive voice that self-doubts, you have self-doubt about something, whether it's your weight or you want a promotion or you want to start a business or you have something that you're constantly self-doubting yourself, you already have that issue right there. You're rejecting yourself.
Yeah.
So you're going to proceed to engage with people differently. You won't have the passion. The level of passion and confidence has to be there. And it's not only about the service and product that we're selling, but it's what, like you said, one of you said, we know how great we are. We know how great our systems are, or whatever it is that we have or we're selling. We're passionate. We believe in it. We live it. But it's not, it goes so much deeper than that. And what you do in private shows in public. So in the sense that if you have this issue within yourself, it's going to project and it's going to add to the rejection that you already put onto yourself. And I have days where I do that to myself. I have to be successful with certain things. And I have an obsessive voice inside my head as well. We all do. And it doesn't matter with what it's with.
Mm-hmm.
So the passion and believing in yourself is not all about just the service and product. It's about, believing in yourself, having that confidence, walking your talk, and not self-doubting yourself. But this is how I take measures to take a step back, make myself the priority, because it's not all about how you look and what you're eating. It starts with your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, if you're self-doubting yourself, you will have issues in a lot of different areas and you don't even realize that they're connected. And every choice you make creates habits and behaviors that it will prevent us from getting to our goals. So for me, with rejection is when I hear that, I ultimately put it back to the fact that they are not ready. Stacy, you mentioned it. You said, you know, a person has to be ready. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And you may want to have their business. I may want to have their business, and I may want to have them feel the energy and live at an optimal level with business and with their health and with their, you know, everything as a whole. But if they're not ready, then I have to accept that. And it doesn't mean that they won't be ready anytime. It just means that they won't be ready now. So with that rejection, when coming into my line of business, knowing that it was a very personal, intimate type of situation where you're not selling business to business, it's a necessity, but it's not. In the sense that you have to really want to move forward with having a better you. And if the person were to say to me, you know, I already do that. I get that a lot. I already do that. You're too expensive. I don't want to do this. That's too much work. I'll tell you, all of those rejections, those type of rejections, you need to know how to take a step back, look at the person that you're speaking with, and be able to acclimate and try to overcome their objections. And I don't take it personally. I don't take it personally because I know if this person is struggling with something and they don't want to move forward to make it better, and they think it's so hard and they'll have every excuse under the sun, it's their loss. It is their loss. And they deserve. 94% of the population fail at goals because they don't have the proper knowledge and tools. And it doesn't matter with what it's with. So as a health strategist, I had to look at this very, very differently with rejection. And yes, I hate it. Who doesn't like it? But I don't take it personally. This is such a personal type of sell. It's such a personal level that you're dealing with people, learning their intimate failures and successes and struggle, you know, and their accomplishments, that I take it with a grain of salt and try to do my best to really educate people in the sense of getting over their objections and realizing this is going to be a win for you. This will be a win. Eventually it'll be a win. So
yes. Oh my gosh, so interesting. You have so much experience with that.
Thank you so much for this. I really, really like this topic because, like I said, I am a human being, and there are days when I just, like we all do, we have that obsessive voice that creates a little self-doubt. And if you self-doubt yourself with anything, it'll affect everything that you do.
And ladies, I do have a question. Have you ever, let's say you're in a situation, you get rejected, and that meant so much to you, you invested so much on whatever that particular thing, and you get rejected. For me, I give it a timeline. In the beginning, I used to go for days, but now I give it like the whole day. Like by the end of the night, it's over, this feeling. Do you guys do that, or what do you do?
Karina, tell us about how you have the piece of paper that you burn. Tell us about that.
What did you say, Stacy? Sorry about that.
Tell us about the piece of paper. You said you had an exercise where you had a piece of paper.
Yes, I do that actually every morning. Every morning, I write down all what bothered me the day before, and I will burn it out. So it's off my brain. Because if you keep it in your brain, at some point it's gonna resurface. Once you put it visual, this person rejected me. This person did. This is this. I'm letting it go for X and Y reason. Because sometimes you cannot, you always have to, people say self-love. What self-love is? You gotta take care of your mindset, meaning you have to realign your mindset, nothing bothers you, and have that shield to get you going. So yes, you rejected me. It's okay, it hurts, but I'm gonna write it in a piece of paper and it's gone. It's very simple, you know, and it has a very, very powerful effect on you. And this is how you keep going.
At a spa
Thank you
one
so
time
much.
in Sedona. They had you put your papers in a worry box, your worry, whatever was on your mind, and you put it in a worry box. Then they took it at the end of the day and they burned that.
That's amazing. Yeah. And it works psychologically. Once you burn something, it's gone. What else you want to talk about?
I should have one of
love
those at my
this,
door.
ladies. I think that we had a fabulous panel today talking about rejection. So we'd like to thank our audience for joining us, and thank you everyone for participating.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.